Hey, what's up, folks? How you doing? So earlier today, I decided to go to the mall and just talk to random people about gene editing, particularly CRISPR-Cas9, and with a particular focus on germline editing, which involves human beings. I feel like the topic kind of steers emotion in a very unique way, and it's a topic that requires a lot of debate and dialogue. So I went to the mall and just tried to find random people who are interested to talk to me about the particular topic. But the exercise itself wasn't an easy exercise because a lot of people were uncomfortable with being on camera. Some actually said it would have been better if they were given adequate time to prep themselves, and others have never actually heard about the whole concept and felt like for them to give a substantial opinion, they need like enough time to just kind of wrap their minds around it. So that's totally understandable. And others, we had very deep and spirited conversations, but they were uncomfortable about the fact that it was supposed to be filmed. So they were like, no, you know what? I've been thinking about this. This is actually an interesting conversation, but I'm not comfortable with being on camera. But I feel like you've started a very interesting dialogue. And here's my take on it. And we went back and forth here and there. And I also met two guys in Unza, a guy and a girl. They were just doing their studies. And then we had a very interesting conversation about it too. But they equally were not ready and comfortable enough to be on camera. But I managed to get at least two people who were good enough to be on camera. And just to track back, there was also two other people who, after we had shot the videos, they texted me like a few minutes after that they felt some type of way about being put on camera because they feel like they haven't really engaged with the topic deeply the way they should. So if possible, I should consider redoing it with them later on and not like the way I did it today, which was very abrupt and I kind of caught them off guard. So I respect that and I cut those off. It's definitely a conversation that I will open with them as I go forward. But the two people I talked to really brought us some interesting points. The first person actually argued out the case that gene editing to an extent would kind of make it seem as though the way God naturally made us isn't perfect enough. You know, it's almost as if we're showing or proving to God that we could actually do things better than He did. And it felt like it creates this conflict between professing to believe in a God as well as just how far you can take human ingenuity. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was a fair argument to raise altogether, and we had a little back and forth. And the other guy argued that aesthetically, perhaps gene editing would get us to a place where we'd all have desirable traits like being a strong athlete or having perfect body size for particular sports. But he too felt this is a topic that, if given adequate time, he could come to the table with a more substantial and informed opinion on the topic. So I hope you enjoy these conversations. You can judge for yourself, but this is something I've opted to be doing going forward. And my particular focus will be universities and colleges because I feel those are places where intellectuals are brewed. You know, yeah. So another thing I would change about this format is instead of approaching people abruptly and talking them into having this actual conversation on camera, I'd rather just do it like who's the guy? There's this some particular guy called Ethin Ed. I don't know if I've pronounced his name correctly. He advocates for ethical veganism. So what he does is he just puts a table with a little tagline, and people could sit at their own will, and there's a camera set up there, so they already know prior to the sitting that this is going to be filmed. So yeah, it's actually better that way as opposed to approaching somebody. You're in their space first of all, and then you're asking them if they're comfortable enough for you to shoot this stuff on camera and stuff like that. So it's actually easier. I think I'll just be sitting on my little table there on my camera, and whoever feels like talking about these topics that affect and impact all of us as humans is welcome. So enjoy this dialogue and let me know what you think in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe. Remember, the goal is to propagate a love for science and philosophy. That's what we're here to do.
My name is Kamanga, known as Kelala on the streets.
All right, so which one would you prefer we refer to in this short conversation?
Any of them.
You said Kelala, right?
Yes.
All right. So Kelala, if we could, what do you think? If we could find a way as humans to alter our genome in a way where we can use that alteration to maybe prevent somebody from having a disease like cancer or edit their genome to a point where we determine how tall they will be or how athletic they will be. Do you feel like there's any ethical implications to that?
Yes, there would be. If I look at it in a Christianity point of view,
Yeah.
it would be going against the ethics of Christianity in the sense that you see God created us to live to a certain point, and we are all born differently. I'll give you an example. You've got disabled people. You've got the people that are born with the cancer. You've got people that are born with whatever disadvantages. But then if we had the ability to change those things, because in my own view, I would feel it's going against the will of God, because God created us in a certain way to say, you will live for this long. And he knew, or before even you were born, that you will live for 20 years with the short fingers, or 5 years with this. But if we had our own way of changing that, then I think it's difficult.
But then if we follow your explanation to its logical conclusion, it would then mean that hospitals and medications are generally not useful. We shouldn't be in any way as humans trying to make our lives better here as we are living, because that's only how God determined us to be.
Yes, and I'm not arguing towards that, but I think that we ought to take ourselves to hospitals or to seek herbal medicinals to try and help ourselves too. As much as it's not that we are saying we don't have the faith that God will heal us, we know, but we still opt to go for that.
So if you had an option,
we use the proverb that is there to say God helps those that help themselves.
Okay, so if you had a choice, say for example you're about to have a son, and then you figured out that he's gonna have a flaw with his brain that's gonna make him paralyzed all his life. But then you had a choice that if you granted your permission, the doctors could just alter the particular set of genes that are going to make him disabled to a point where he won't be disabled. Would you give him a go ahead to actually do it before your son is actually born?
That's a tough one. Yeah, I would, because clearly I wanted a perfect life for the child, and to my knowing, I don't know the future. I don't know what God's plan is. So if towards me I would be able to even know what the future holds, a lot of us would change a lot of things. Yeah. Because it will be changing them at our own will.
But then isn't that a double standard with the first argument you started with? Because it's like, if it works for you, then it's okay. But if it works for humans generally, then there's something wrong, and we're going against God's original plan.
No, I think for that one, it will be difficult, because if I don't have the ability to do that, and it's also not in God's plan, I don't think there's nothing that I can do. I will just have to live with what I've been given.
So in conclusion, what would you want to end on?
I think in conclusion, what I would say, I think it's a very interesting topic, and we now need to just generalize in which angle are we picking it in. Yeah. Are we going in the Bible way, or are we going in the normal way? So if we are saying it's just ourselves and we are just thinking out of the box, I think it would be a good thing, because we'll change a lot of things. We'll reduce a lot of problems and the crimes, because you know that this guy is going to grow up to be a crook. Yeah. Or so his behavior is this. You just need to switch these two cables and he'll be like this. Yeah, exactly. Then you have people to control everybody. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it would be an interesting thing to see.
It's almost as if we would have assumed the position of God.
Yes. Meaning that you see, so that will be where we will be going. Yeah. Because again, at the end of the day, is what we are trying to do, will it perfectly work? Because now you will also end death. Because you're not to say this guy is dying tomorrow. What is the problem? Oh, this thing is about to pop. Change it, put another, give him another 60 years. Yeah. So it will be going against what God has planned. But if it was up to us, and there was no, and God allowed it to say, do what you want, it will be like that.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Cheers. My name is Kumwena Chiuka.
Yeah.
Student at the University of Zambia.
What year are you in? Third year. What are you studying?
What am I?
What are you studying?
Geomatic engineering.
Oh, okay. Sounds complicated. How's it going so far?
So far, not good, but good at the same time.
My question is to do with gene editing. So there's this thing now where we could alter the human genome and maybe cut out diseases, as well as determine, even before you're born, like certain ways that you're going to be as a human being. Do you feel like that could land us in problems, or it's actually the solution to make us somewhat mini gods?
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's a solution. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
Determining someone's height and everything before they're born.
yeah.
It's a plus, man. We can edit, we can make the world the way we want it to be.
So,
Like make good children, no one will have cancer,
Yeah.
safe world, safe environment, a lot of beautiful people, handsome people, beautiful people only.
Yeah.
Yes.
so what would you say about other people who are concerned about the issue and saying maybe we're doing something that we're not supposed to have the power to do? Like it should be something that maybe was determined by God or something. We shouldn't alter the way we were made originally. What's your take on that?
For me, science, discoveries are always bound to happen, are meant to happen.
Yeah.
Science is meant to be improved. We're supposed to do certain things that we couldn't do back then.
Yeah.
So it's just an evolution. Things are changing. It's tech.
Yeah.
For me, it's cool.
So how about in cases like sports? Imagine you're playing against a team that you don't even know they did some gene editing. There's even this thing there which they call like designer babies. You might not know you're playing against designer babies.
Yeah, I think in sports it would be a bit unfair. Because if you edit, me, I can make superhumans. Football team. Or Ronaldo's, the whole team.
Any
I think it's a bit unfair
Yeah.
in terms of sports.
All right. Any last words you'd like to close with?
I would say go ahead with this thing.
Yeah.
If it works perfectly, no side effects, no pressure, yes, go ahead.